Americans love our country and the people who serve it. We also love a good old-fashioned underdog success story. And when that story includes love of country, love of service, and the creation of the world's most visited historic ship museum, we are proud to embrace it and honor the person at the heart of how it all came to be. Like most success stories, ours begins at the beginning with a healthy dose of unabashed, bred-in-the-bone optimism.
My mother said when I was a little boy, I was like 2 years old, and she took me to a bowling alley. And I was running up and down the bowling alley, cheering, "Knock those pins down, boys!" I'm a good cheerleader. If you give me a chance to build a team and we can get a vision together, I'm the person you want that can do that.
The person we wanted was the person we got. The son of a naval officer, John Mclaughlin, was determined to follow the call of the sea and service to country. Turning down a full ride to Notre Dame, Mac entered the Naval Academy in 1968, where he promptly displayed the leadership qualities that would become so familiar. A two-time All-American, his athletic prowess at Annapolis was propelled by an ever-present can-do attitude that would pay continuing dividends throughout his career. Mac earned his wings in 1975, a freshly minted naval aviator who flew helicopters with a touch that soon elevated him to flight instructor. Together with his wife Nora, he built a distinguished 30-year career that took him from many deployments and commands to the Pentagon. Promoted to flag rank in 1999, Rear Admiral Mclaughlin would retire 4 years later, having been awarded the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service, Navy Commendation, and Navy Achievement Medals. With this kind of resume, opportunities beckoned.
I was on the Red Cross board at the time. We were looking at hiring Mac for the Red Cross. And fortunately we didn't, because he came right over here and turned kind of a rust bucket into the best attraction for the military in the country.
Probably the most important thing I learned in the Navy that made me able to transition successfully to the Midway was the importance of building a team and getting the right people in the right position, and then aligning the vision so that everybody on that team is stroking in the same direction. And once you create an atmosphere where that's present, stand back and enjoy, because it's going to get pretty great.
It got great quickly and creatively, it being one of the most successful museums in American history. From humble beginnings, the man met the mission with keen insight and a flair for transforming vision into reality.
We had a handful of airplanes, we had a ship, we had developed a couple rudimentary exhibits, but what we did have is the volunteers, welcoming our people in the parking lot, bringing them aboard, and beginning to tell the story. So when you're looking at a vacant flight deck, once one of the docents starts telling the story about what this flight deck really was during normal operations, it suddenly becomes filled with aircraft, helicopters, noise, action, and young men and women running the show.
While he will deny it to his dying day, I believe the majority of credit goes to him for the kind of, first of all, culture that he created. And you don't have 750 volunteers volunteering to come down here if you don't have a culture of empowerment and teamwork.
Once he knew your first name, that's what he called you. And he didn't want us to call him Admiral. He said, "Nope, my name is Mac."
This guy named Mac wasn't just tasked with creating the Midway experience. It was also his job to sell it to his team, to his city, to the world.
One of the more interesting aspects of his resume when we were interviewing him was the fact that in between tours of duty, he had sold cars for Tony McCune for about 6 months.
There's only one dog on this lot, and she's just not for sale.
We found out he was Salesman of the Month every month when he was selling cars. And as we built Midway and his leadership really took hold, it was clear he was a world-class salesman.
Mac is the kind of guy that could sell ice cream to Eskimos. And when he deals with the docents, he says, hey, I'm going to give you a pay raise. Well, we're all volunteers, so a 30% pay raise of 30% times 0 is 0, right?
Every volunteer that you see here calls him a friend. He knew all of their names. He was able to push all the buttons with the community. He knew about the educational side and how important that was. He just gave everything he had to it, and he was like a force of nature when it came to this ship.
The most important exhibit on the ship was the ladies' restroom. Because if Mom wasn't happy with her experience, the family wasn't going to be happy.
He'd walk around every day, and whether he was picking up a piece of trash or talking to a docent or talking to a kid, he had this inner confidence that he knew it was all going to work.
Throughout his career, Mac has preached and practiced 4 essential precepts: show up, pay attention, work hard, and never, ever quit.
What we want the young American who comes on board to walk away with is, wow, these young kids really gave up a lot to serve their country. How can they do this? Who are these guys? The thing that I'm proudest about on the Midway is the culture that we've built and continues to be sustained.
We hired Mclaughlin because we knew we needed a leader who could communicate the message of the Midway and what it would mean to San Diego and what it meant to the Navy and what it meant actually to the world.
The Midway is better off now than it ever was while I was here. When I got called to be the honoree, my first thought was, I'm not worthy. And I mean that sincerely. It's the biggest honor of my professional career.
I like to think of Mac as the person who made Midway happen. His perseverance, his stubbornness, his stick-to-itiveness.
From one admiral to another, from the Midway family to a family man who made Midway magic possible, from an amazing beginning to a future replete with dreams fulfilled, new ambitions, and a perpetual commitment to American ideals of service and sacrifice. As Midway CEO, Rear Admiral Mac Mclaughlin defined excellence by redefining retirement for an unmatched warrior and a magnificent warship. Tonight, we are proud to honor John P. Mac Mclaughlin with the 2024 Midway American Patriot Award.